And you talked earlier about that record low approval rating for President Biden. It's actually 6 points down just since February. And the skepticism over his leadership extends deep inside his own party. Only 36% of Democrats think that their party should nominate Joe Biden for a second term. 58% say they would support someone else or prefer someone else. That's despite the fact that the entire DNC, most of the Democratic establishment, has rallied behind President Biden. And you're seeing real weaknesses in the coalition that powered Joe Biden to the presidency back in 2020. Biden carried independents by 13 points against Donald Trump. He is now trailing Trump by 9 points among those same voters. He carried black voters by 75 points in 2020. Now he is up just 35. That may sound like a lot, but the fact of the matter is, in modern politics, that is not the kind of number that a Democrat needs to be victorious. And then, of course, that does spill over into the head-to-head matchup, the hypothetical rematch, Trump versus Biden. Right now, a 7-point edge in our poll from in Trump leading Biden. And in fact, it's an identical number with Ron DeSantis in a head-to-head that might happen next November. That tells us at this very early stage, George, that this race is shaping up a lot more about the incumbent president, Joe Biden, than it is about any of his challengers.
Woo! So as y'all just saw there, we riding with Biden. We are riding with Biden. We want Joe. We want Joe. We want... And some of you might be a little confused. Most of you get it, okay? Because I've said this plenty of times, but... I don't want anybody else as the Democrat nominee other than Joe Biden. Oh, that boy in trouble. Oh, man. Oh, man. And this is also one of the reasons why I have a problem with, and you guys can let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. Maybe I'm a complete idiot and I'm still too wet behind the ears and my breath still smelling like Similac, you know what I mean? I'm too much of an infant in terms of politics to understand that this is a good thing. But from my perspective, Republicans going after Joe and exposing him allegedly on, his business dealings and whatnot, right now, I feel is a bad move. And I'll tell you why. 24 elections are a long way away still. America is a nation that quickly forgets, especially if the mainstream media isn't really putting it in their face. So my thing is, why not come out with all of this information, hold it close to chest, just like they allegedly did with the whole Joe Biden documents thing. I believe that's what it was, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I believe it was the Joe Biden documents. Like, they knew that he had the documents right before the midterms, but they held that information close to chest until after midterms. You know what I mean? So why not strategize a little bit and come out with that information, I don't know, 7 months before next election, 6 months before next election, 5 months, you know what I mean? Sometime a little bit closer so it's still fresh in people's minds. Oh, this guy is into X, Y, and Z, especially when it feels and looks like mainstream media is in bed with the left, so they're not going to air this stuff. Democrats aren't going to see this stuff, 6 months before the election. It's not going to be aired. It's not going to be talked about. Maybe Fox will talk about it. Maybe, some places, Newsmax and whatever. But Democrats aren't going there. Right now, left-wing media has to talk about it. So why not come out with it then? Let me know. But then also my second point, and I know I'm long-winded and we'll get into this video here in just a second. But also, I wouldn't damage Joe so much, and when I say damage, I mean lower his poll number so much so that he says, all right, it's probably not a good idea for me to run. Maybe somebody else should take my place. because there's so much time before the election. Joe could be like, okay, my polling numbers aren't coming back up. You know, the Democratic establishment says, all right, Joe, it's time to step aside. You need to step aside. We're going to push Michelle out there. Your poll numbers, you know, at 36%. It was at 36%. Now it's down at 29%. You're just not the guy. Let's throw Michelle out there. If you wait until 6 months, 5 months, or wherever before the election happens, then his numbers take, then it's too late. Then it's too late. Now they have all the time in the world, in my humble opinion. But like I said, y'all let me know how you feel. I feel like Republicans should employ more strategy. I see the Democrats employing strategy. As terrible as their moves are, or as terrible as the things that they're trying to accomplish are, I feel like there's more strategy involved. Do y'all feel the same way? Let me know. Maybe I'm an idiot. I'm open to that. Talk to me in the comment section, please.
Well, we were really lucky to hear from President Biden because after not hearing from him, which maybe seemed like almost a year, he came out and actually answered questions. He was not asked anything about things that people really care about. One question at the end over Title 42, and he said he was working on something with Mexico, but it wasn't much of an answer. A lot of people are wondering about the debt ceiling. They're going to raise the debt ceiling. They always raise the debt ceiling. They're just basically jockeying for position to see who doesn't catch most of the blame. Now, America's been sliding backwards emotionally for the last decade. A small group of people has been picking at America's most tender scab for about 10 years. They've been working around the clock to convince you that the country's racist and that you're racist. 60 years after the Civil Rights Act, 15 years after electing the first black president, as a black vice president sits in the White House, half of America thinks the other half's racist. So how'd we get here?
The Democrat Party.
We've been getting carpet bombed with racial propaganda. Racial riots against police were fueled into our biggest cities. The media spread the hands up, don't shoot myth. Tragic shootings must have been good for business because America's most prominent newspapers have spent a decade using race like a knife to divide us. And what we're showing you right now explains how newspapers use words like white privilege, systemic racism, and police brutality. Racially explosive language, all of a sudden, 10 years ago, was injected into every major newspaper all at the same time.
Whoa. Yeah. The 2012-ish area under Obama.
Suspicious. And TV stations followed.
Wait a minute. Didn't Obama wasn't that one bill signed in 2012 by Obama? I forgot the name of it now. Oh man. If anybody knows, let me know in the comment section. I want to say there might have been a bill that was signed. Oh man.
And put these words like racism in every single script, in every teleprompter. Americans started feeling guilty. Others felt angry. A lot of people felt defensive. The propaganda was working. By 2019, the New York Times and the Washington Post were publishing the word racism nearly 1,000% more than they did in 2011. The people who buy these newspapers, mostly college-educated white liberals, you know, the people that run New York, D.C., and the rest of the media, and all of the Democratic Party, now see racism as the biggest problem in America. White liberals started seeing racists everywhere. Their neighbors, friends, coworkers, everyone's racist. People stopped talking to each other. HR complaints skyrocketed. Fake hate crimes started popping up everywhere. So did a lot of misunderstanding. A lot of people just stopped talking because talking about race became dangerous. And everybody went to their corners. Again, the propaganda was working. America's race relations took a nosedive. Look at that. Never recovered. Look at that. The crazy thing is, we all started thinking we were more racist as the country actually became less racist.
Crazy.
Now, in 2020, BLM rioters torched small.
That is just wild, man. Look at that. Under a black president, too. Goodness gracious. I'm going to have to look and see if that's when, I believe Obama signed a bill. I want to say that was around that time. But if anybody remembers, let me know in the comment section, because that is insane. Insane. Wow. Wow. And then obviously 2016, it took a jump. Sheesh. That's crazy. And of course, you know, the divider in chief is what I like to call him, Joe Biden. He's not making things any better. I feel like Democrats, that's their goal, is to divide our nation. But that's just how I'm feeling. Obviously, a lot of good news. Lots of great news for Republicans. Obviously, those polls at the beginning of the video I showed you guys is fantastic news. But we still need to put our pedal to put the pedal to the metal. Go knock on doors. All right. Talk to folks. Use the buddy system in 24. Take somebody with you. All right. Don't be afraid to speak your piece. Silent majority, remember? Remember Uncle Trump told us silent majority. Guess he was right. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.